Habsburg did auberges, fantastic. The open window with the sound of the river and Mother Mary keeping an eye on us in the garden. Very old Roman bridge, I think. Tiny little hamlet with a lovely fast-flowing alpine stream, cows in the meadow. Tiny little village called Herarius, and this is the bottom of a very steep 1,000-meter climb coming up. I have just prepared myself, and here we go. This is really just to remind me of how absolutely delightful and beautiful and welcoming and gorgeous these albergas are in the middle of nowhere. Absolutely glorious. What's in here? Happy Friday. I usually call it Happy Friday because it is Spotify new release day. I haven't checked them out yet because I'm walking the Camino in northern Spain on this particular Happy Friday. And this is the 8th day. I'm halfway, or thereabouts, between Leon and Santiago. And this next stretch apparently is the most challenging, only in that it is about 1,000 meters rise. Good path, but strenuous. About 3 hours walk next. So, in my usual style, I've started with a stop. Changed my attire by the fast-flowing stream and the Roman bridge. I stopped for a cafe con leche, and the camarero kindly gave me a free piece of cake. Sort of good luck charm, I think. And I will experience whatever I experience, and hopefully see you on the other side. A very dear friend of mine upset me a little yesterday. Not that she wanted to upset me, or that I was upset by being upset, but the implication was that because I had said how wonderful life is, of course it's wonderful if you're walking in the sunshine on the Camino for nearly 3 weeks, and you can afford to do so and enjoy a coffee and cake. But her direct implication was that I am not wagging it, as we said, as school kids if you bunk off school. No, not that. It was, I was being, I guess, self-centered in thinking my life is wonderful. But she was pointing out that for most poor people in the world, life is not so wonderful. And we've all met and encountered and sometimes shared a meal with people like this. And nothing pains me more than the idea of children in, I have to say, Gaza, because we all know what we're talking about, who can't even get some bread today. And so it has made me think, am I being selfish? Am I being unrealistic? And I replied saying something like, choosing to go for a long walk and enjoying the wonders of it does not make me a white male misogynist causing suffering. I used a stronger F word, causing suffering to the rest of the world, or parts of the world. And I've been troubled by this, as you can imagine, because I do truly feel helpless. What on earth can I do? And it might sound, what would you do? What would you say to somebody who said it's not such a wonderful world because of the injustices? Well, having contemplated it overnight and on the walk so far over 2 hours this morning, I have the idea that the world being wonderful is literally a given. Anything less than wonderful is perhaps conditional or contingent on, of course, circumstances and accessibility to food and shelter and money. And not everybody does have equal access. And I would vote right now to change that. I would put my mark on a paper, I would put money in a bank account, I would give away most of what I own. In fact, the honest truth is, my friends, I have voted with my feet and I have given away half of what I own, my books, my clothes, all of my furniture, and my way of life that supports the consumer society. And I've chosen to vote with my feet, literally. I don't mean just on the Camino, but to live off-grid in a tiny house, which is a simpler life, less unkind to the environment. And that's my choice of living kindly on this planet, certainly for the time being. So you can go and sling your accusations of white male misogyny elsewhere, my friend. That's a nice Camarero who gifted me the cake. And there's a sort of zero-sum game implied here, isn't there? What used to be called the gold standard. In the after the First World War, I think, most of the countries of the world went on what's called the gold standard, and it was seen as a way of stabilizing currencies and economies, because there's only a finite amount of gold. Well, this worked for a while, but then that fell apart, and I don't I don't subscribe to the idea of there being a fixed amount of justice or a fixed amount of wonder or a fixed amount of blessing to go around. That's not the world or cosmos that I personally feel I inhabit. You might think otherwise. You're entitled to see it through your own eyes, because as I was talking to myself earlier, we see things not as cameras, but we see things as projectors. And if you see injustice, you project injustice wherever you look. If you see wonder, you'll see wonder wherever you look. Even in poverty, excuse me, and I have spent a short time in India, 3 months in India, so I've seen sannyasins in what appear to be rags and ashes, and I've shared my lunch with them, and they seem perfectly happy. I've shared dates and dairy cheese segments in foil with the Bedouin in the Sahara Desert, perfectly happy. So we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And I see the world through coffee and cake and a 1,000-meter uphill walk next. See you later. After a 2-hour walk up the hill, there isn't a finer sight than the Pilgrim's Fountain, which I've just put my head under, and head and shoulders under, and supped from the cold water from the mountain stream, and refreshed, ready to crack on. Next stop, lunch. Well, I thought I was about halfway up after a couple of hours slow ascent, but it's looking promising. I reckon that's the highest point, and it's pretty green and lovely purple heather. So back to the trail. Another couple of hours and we should be there. Mm-hmm.